Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, as always, Chad Bordeaux, and joining me is Marcus Green. Marcus, welcome to the show.
Another week of wrestling.
No matter how hard we fight, they keep producing it. So, this week's show is called Out with the Old, In with the Old. Why? Because Vince McMahon's gone and Ric Flair's back. Make it make sense, Marcus. Make it make sense.
Like, supposed to be back for the last time. Alleged. The last time.
The last time. This is his fourth comeback. Granted, still 124 less than Terry Funk. Because he retired in 2008, came back in 2009, came back in 2010, came back in 2011. Wanted to come back after his return to the WWE, but they shot that down. And I remember everyone was like, yeah, he's so old now in 2008. And I'm like, he's not that much off from 2005 when everyone's like, oh my God, comeback of the year. So, you know.
Yeah, I feel like he was trying to either level out or, like, make his in-ring return surpass his, like, actual near-death experience.
Well, he almost accomplished that. But before we get to Flair, we got to talk about the house Flair built that the WWE tore down and built over it. You know, the scraps of WCW has become bits and pieces of the WWE. Should have been a lot better. You know, should have been far more than what it was. That fucking invasion angle. And like I'll never not be mad about that because they ended it the night before Flair debuted. So they clearly had it in place for some time. But I digress. The WWE is constantly doing things that pisses me off, and SummerSlam 2022 is no different. So a lot of people liked what they got from SummerSlam. This is one of those times for me where I go, this is recency bias. This show wasn't any better, any worse than what we've been getting. It's just now Vince McMahon's gone, so there's this facade that people want to live in, where now the show is infinitely better, but some of the issues are it's not necessarily the writing, although the writing does need to improve. It's the fact that so much of the talent is shit. I know there are going to be fans of some of the guys I'm about to dunk on, but I'm Vince Carter circa 2000, and you can't fucking stop me.
But Chad, they notoriously have the best talent in all of wrestling.
Then you're high as the Empire State Building if you think that's true. So firstly, let's talk about Becky Lynch, who can't cut a promo. She can't. She sounds like a regurgitating trash compactor with marbles in it. I can't understand half the things she says. Secondly, are we done pretending that The Miz is like a great worker? Because like I really hated when that was going around, when everyone thought The Miz was a great worker because that was the narrative. Miz isn't a great worker. He's a below average athlete who doesn't suck. He's a better character than he is a wrestler, but he's still not great. I mean, think about this. They gave Logan Paul 14 minutes in a match because they knew he was one of the better attractions. That shows you just this dude is universally hated. And that shows you just how bad this roster is. Bobby Lashley has the charisma of a dead Game Boy. It's big, it's intimidating, but it's still nothing.
I remember those days.
Right? The Game Boy was the only video game console that not only doubled as a way to play Tetris and other puzzle-based games, but also has self-defense mechanisms. Because you could chuck that bitch at anyone's head, and it would still play. I mean, the Game Boy would. The person would be dead. Because that shit was a brick.
Yeah, and then when it came out with the Advance, yeah, you're like, God damn it, my battery's died, and I just got to the damn Pokemon gym. Shit.
I've been playing for 20 minutes, and I need new batteries. Fuck.
what kind of batteries you got? I don't know. They just say battery.
They're a triangle. And it doesn't even spell battery correctly. It's Speaking of doesn't spell things correctly, Austin Theory is about as bland as they get, and I'm pretty sure this dude couldn't actually finish a math equation if it was written out in words. He can't do no word problems. I mean, I'm making a very, very big assumption on that, Marcus, because this dude still has that little tiny soul patch. I don't know what the fuck he's thinking.
I'm no
and that mustache. Like, what are you doing, kid?
I get it. The kid looks great. He's youthful. He's got a lot of raw ability and athleticism and all that. But back to Bobby real quick. I'm like, Bobby, I like you. I dig you. You've been doing great as champion. You are so far away from that sisters angle. But man, I know you're making too much money right now to be missing the side tooth. You killing me. With this missing the side tooth, man. You're supposed to be this big, swole, hulking dude that cannot be stopped, and you're missing the side tooth. You're killing me, man.
Maybe him and Mark Briscoe go to the same dentist.
Hilarious. Chicken.
So the Briscoes took on the Von Erichs at the Ric Flair last match card, and apparently it was a battle of the farmers because the Briscoes are either hog or chicken farmers. I forget which one. And the Von Erichs are sheep farmers. So I just thought that was interesting. But back to eviscerating this roster. Damian Priest is a young up-and-coming prospect at 40. Dominic Mysterio looks like the chubby kid in Karate Kid, Cobra Kai. And he fights like him too.
You talking about Hawk's best friend?
No. I'm talking about LaRussa's son.
Oh, that
Dominic LaRussa.
The when he was fat or while he is now. By the way, weirdest television transformation ever.
What's that?
Like, by the way, weirdest. Like he evolved like Cell. Like it was weird. Like,
he de-evolved because I think he was more athletic as a kid because in those scenes where he was chasing after that little kid, the transfer kid, LaRusso looked like he couldn't run. Like he didn't know like how his body moved. So Dominic, whatever sheen this kid had is gone. He's just blah. Then you have Pat McAfee, again, another guy who, granted, Pat McAfee is very popular. So him being on this card makes sense. But he's not a great athlete. If he was, he wouldn't have been a fucking punter. Number two, why are we still booking Happy Corbin? He's been in the company for 12 years, 10 years, whatever it is. And people still don't give a shit about him. At a certain point, you got to cut bait. What is it? Is Angelo Dawkins the slightly overweight one of the Street Profits?
Oh,
he's not good.
The less defined one in the Street Profits.
The fat one. He's the fat one.
Hilarious.
Montez Ford is he's got all the energy. He's got all the charisma, all the athleticism. And Angelo Dawkins is just there. He is Barb from Stranger Things. And I was hoping the Usos would gank him just like the Demogorgon ganked Barb and sent her all the way to Riverdale. Liv Morgan's not very talented. She's as interesting in the ring as Ronda Rousey is on the mic. This whole push Liv Morgan thing, why? She's not athletic. She has no discernible physical traits that would make you think she's a believable champion. Like with Rey Mysterio, that dude jumps around like he's got springs in his knees. Still, at 47, does that. So, like, size doesn't matter. But Liv Morgan also has the athletic coordination of a game of kerplunk. The entire goal is just to fall, and that's what I expect from Morgan every match. Just fall, because that's all I think she can do. And then you got fucking Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, who are two of the most stifled and uninspired in-ring competitors of the last 10 years. But they're popular and draws, so they get a pass. But they should. This is the card, man. Like this is the best they could do. Thank God I didn't have to sit through Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle because that would have been.
I mean, we still got it on the show, but it wasn't a match.
I missed that then, Because I was
Drew
going
Mac-
between this and UFC 277.
I mean, to be fair, he did stomp Riddle into the ground, but it's like you can't fully enjoy it because it's still Rollins getting some gratification and that damn laugh.
And you're right, because it's like, Seth Rollins is a Nazi fucker. He fucked Zara Schreiber. Is that her name?
It's like we went back to Preacher, and like Hitler didn't get away. He got caught, but the dude that caught him was Hulk Hogan. Like, I can't enjoy this.
Well, like it's like World War II. Like, yeah, Soviet Union, bad dudes, but they helped to stop the Nazis. So it's like, all right, Soviets, you get one.
I still want something to happen to Hulk. So he beats up Hitler. You're happy, but it's like, it's still Hulk. I want something to happen to him. So he's getting back into the limo, and then Orton catches him with the RKO across the trunk. But then he's like, fuck, it's Orton.
Right? Like, all right, you get one. You get one today. But I'm coming back for that. Don't worry. So, like, I don't know what fans are expecting, because, like, this roster got gutted by Vince McMahon and what's his name? Not Tony Khan. Nick Khan. And Nick Khan is still running things. Like, people don't realize that. The checkbooks aren't going to magically open. Nick Khan is running the business. Stephanie's running, if I remember reading correctly, she's going to be running the day-to-day operations, like the ideas and implementations. But Nick Khan is the one running the checkbook. So this whole, Triple H is going to sign all these guys, and there's going to be bidding wars. Are you all high? Are you all doing the pot?
It's the people so like just flabbergasted. One, but they still on the high that Vince is actually like retired. But then obviously out of the creative, so I think people are gaslighting themselves. And we talked about this when this happened. Like, even if changes do come, positive changes, it's not going to be all at once. Like you said, they didn't just gut to a roster; they gutted themselves creatively for years. So it's like this stuff, like the rehab names, like, some of the people you just mentioned. Like I said, they ran all the NXT people into the ground. Not Bobby, Brock and Reigns never need to see each other again. They are the new Orton and Cena at this point.
To be fair, I would still rather see Brock and Roman than Cena and Orton.
You're not wrong. But yeah, it's like I said, I think a lot of people are gaslighting themselves. Like, SummerSlam was not that great to me, not that good to me, and tonight's Raw wasn't that good. Like, I'm not finna be like, y'all really pulling out the Jergens, the full bottle of Jergens, because y'all got Bailey back, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. Like, all three of them, they're good. They're good people. They are, but it's like they're not gonna flip the thing overnight. And Charlotte is due back any week now, it feels like.
So they'll have a bolstered women's division for sure. But Bailey, not a good promo. What's her name? Io Sky now?
Yeah, Io Sky.
Io Sky. She might be a great promo in Japanese. I don't know how fluent she is in English. Because she came from Stardom, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So, like, the issue is not in-ring talent. The issue is characters. I don't give a shit about how good Austin Theory is in the ring. I don't give a shit how good Finn Balor is in the ring, how good Rhea Ripley is. Can they cut promos? Can they be interesting? Because here's the crux of the matter, folks. 14-minute matches on Raw don't fucking sell. Promos, interviews, segments, building the characters. You could have 1,000 matches in a row, look like $1 million, and people still won't give a shit. Fred Rosser's dealing with that exact thing in New Japan Strong right now. Putting on some great matches, as charismatic as a pin that has fallen out of the goddamn wall. Nobody cares. He is their top guy in New Japan Strong. He is the strong champion. I think it's like strong openweight title. And he's putting on some good matches. He's a really good hand. But just like with Tom Lawler before him, there's not a lot of charisma there. There's not a lot of great promos. We need better characters. We need better, interesting characters. Like, I can't keep having these dudes named after my neighbors. Like I saw some dude named like Fred Escobar. I'm like, how is that a wrestling name? We had the Big Boss Man, The Ultimate Warrior. Yes, he's a scarlet, black person hating douche rag, but Hulk Hogan. Randy Savage. His name was Savage, Marcus, because that's what he was. He was a
Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect. Ric Flair. Granted, his last name really is Flair, but he spelled it with some oomph. and now we got fucking Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair and Logan Paul, Dominic Mysterio. Oh, I'm just sitting here like what are we doing? And like the names that don't suck, Damian Priest, are obtained by people who can't cut a promo if they had a knife, butter, some bread, and the bread was called promo. Still couldn't cut it. I'm supposed to believe that Triple H is now going to magically make this roster into something watchable? Just because they're a brand that has viewers doesn't make it a good product. People who've been buying Apple phones the last 10 years can fucking tell you all about it. Like, people actively buy Papa John's still. Marcus, people still buy Papa John's. And they don't have garlic dipping sauce only. Domino's has garlic dipping sauce. Pizza has garlic dipping sauce. There's no excuse anymore to keep going to Domino's. Not Domino's, Papa John's. But people still do. Just like people keep showing up to watch the WWE. It's not because they have a lot of talent, Marcus. It's because they're just there. They are the open soda pop. Nope, can't do it. It's just pop. If you call it soda, I cannot rep you if you call it soda. You call it soda pop, that's fine, but it's pop. It's like having the open pop in your refrigerator as opposed to opening up a new one. It's there, so you're going to have it. It's flat, it's boring, but it's there. That's the WWE. So I am not optimistic about this at all. Their top stars in NXT are what? Bronson Steiner? Wait, what's his name? Braun Breaker? Ugh.
Bricker, Stucker.
Bricker Bracker. Fricker.
Yeah, I mean, the only people I like really watch that brand for is Carmelo Hayes. That come along with Trick and Trick Williams and whatnot, and maybe a couple other people. I like looking at Nikita Lyons, but that most people do.
Nikita Lyons. I'm looking something up for science reasons.
Yeah, you about to understand why.
Oh no, okay, I've seen this chick before. I get it.
Yeah, but she's a I feel like she may be all lives matter. I don't know, but
I'm gonna say something controversial. Not all lives matter. There are some people that if they died tomorrow, I would not shed a tear.
Yeah, I mean, I think did you see that video with them cops with that in school shooter? I'm like, did y'all really wait there? Like, gee, did dude really get some sanitizer while y'all were waiting there?
Yeah, that frustrated me.
Yo, man, I'm like it literally had parents out there with more balls that didn't have nothing but feelings with them that probably would have did better with a belt. You bastards got on armor but I digress. Yeah, I don't know why stuff like I'm only watching NXT is in the dumps. And they did the thing where they one of the girls put the tag team titles in the trash. And ironically, Alundra came and I guess got them out the trash. And now they're going to do a tournament to decide the new champions. I wonder if they're going to do that for the main roster ones or just bring the champions back. Who knows? People are really going to be creaming in their pants if they bring those two back. So,
and we'll talk more about them at the end of the show because we have this laid out a bit, but that's not going to help. Like the issue isn't so much about who you can bring back because a lot of the names that would actually add to this roster are not gettable. You know, like everyone's like, well, they're going to re-sign Johnny Gargano. So I'm supposed to watch Wonder Bread wrestle every fucking week now? I don't fucking think so. I am tired of these work rate dudes with zero fucking personality. Now, listen, Johnny Gargano is a good wrestler. He's not a great wrestler. He's not John Gresham. He's not Davey Richards. Like, those two dudes can have the charisma of a fucking sinkhole. I would watch every match they're in because they're that good. Johnny Gargano's not that good. That's the NXT hype speaking. Like, when you're that high on your own supply, you can't see reality. To borrow a Triple H parlance, Johnny Gargano's a B-plus player. John Gresham and Davey Richards and Bryan Danielson are A+++ S-tier guys.
And to be fair, long-time listeners know we feel the same way about Gargano as we do about Ciampa, who now is going to be facing Lashley for the U.S. title. He just beat.
I think less of Ciampa, actually. And I think they're both Italians. Like, that should give you like an idea on like how much I should like them, because they're my people. Especially Ciampa. I know Ciampa's Italian for sure, but he bores the hell out of me.
It was certain points where he was intriguing, but not about much. That point where he kept turning on Gargano got interesting, but it also got worn out after a bit. So I'm lining all three of them up: Gargano, Ciampa, Cole. How you ranking them?
They're all, Cole, I would put above both of them. They're all 125 pounds. They're all 4'11". But Cole has a monicum of charisma. Not a lot of charisma. But he has, like, you ever look into, like, a pop can, you see, like, a little bit left? That's Cole's charisma. He's got a little in it. As opposed to the other two who have, they don't even have a bottom on their can. Like, the only way I would ever give a shit about Ciampa is if he came out dressed like Eric Matthews in that one episode of Boy Meets World where he's, like a creature of the woods now. Married to a moose.
Hilarious.
And like Ciampa has like birds in his beard.
And to be fair, Gargano, even if you rank Gargano over Ciampa, because it's you, he's gonna get knocked under Ciampa because he's gonna come out with Marvel inspired gear.
And that's another thing. Like, the dude has no personality. He has to be a cosplayer. Like, dude, you're not a 25-year-old failed actress trying to get Instagram followers. Stop it. It's obnoxious and upsetting. Like, it was funny when Ray was doing it in 2003, but that cannot be your gimmick anymore. You cannot be cosplay boy. He's Leva Bates with less personality. And Leva Bates doesn't have much of a personality either. Fucking hell. This card was ass. I'm talking myself into hating it more and more by talking about these boring fuck nuggets of individuals. I'm sure most of them are good people. Not Austin Theory. Like, Bobby Lashley stopped a bank robbery once. That's dope. Like, Liv Morgan seems like a really, personable, uplifting person. Cool. Bianca Belair is all about representation and improving the lives of people in her community. I love it. Logan Paul... You got the Street Profits.
It's weird too with Bianca. Bianca literally has everything.
She's the total package. But my gripe with her is her ring gear is so boring. Like, I don't know how you can make ring gear for women stand out from the rest, considering there are natural limitations and expectations that they have to have. Like, with a dude, you can have a shirt, no shirt, singlet, no singlet, but you really don't have that option with women, although I wouldn't complain if someone tried. So, there's only so many variants of the same outfit, but, I don't know, give her, like a Zack Ryder-esque outfit. Remember when he had, that one sleeve leg and one short leg?
It's funny because she wore a pantsuit like that tonight.
Oh, God. That might actually be interesting.
It's weird because to me, and I guess we stand on the opposite of it, because she makes all her own gear.
Does she?
Yeah, she makes all her own gear, and she never repeats gears.
That's gotta be expensive.
Yeah,
I don't think she makes that much money.
The maintenance alone with those women automatically is I would imagine is pricey, but
the take home's got to be real little after all that, especially with Bianca because she's got to take care of that hair.
Yeah, that's the whole because it is a part of and that's a whole different thing.
Even if it's not all naturally hers, because I do know a lot of women wear extensions.
Yeah,
a lot of it is.
Yeah.
And she's constantly got that thing fucking buckled up underneath all those bands and shit. That can't be healthy for your hair. So I'm sure she's got a hair care regimen that like takes an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine she's got it down to some type of science, specifically with that braid. I know she's got to, because of the, it's an obvious flaw as much as it is a weapon when because after what she did to Becky, like it's one of those things where if she'll use that hair whip if it's like, okay, you just won't stop grabbing at my hair.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, she should probably use it more. But it's weird with Bianca because I like her as a face. Like I said, she got everything, but she felt like she just was more comfortable when she was heel in NXT. Like she
Yeah.
was smooth when she was a heel. And as a face, she's good, but sometimes it feels like she's trying to like find certain things wise that just flowed better when she was a face. But I mean, when she was a heel, but she's making it work. But like I said, she's got everything. That's not a consistent thing on this roster. Like you said.
I worry now because of like all that we've seen, where
Yeah.
anyone who plays a good heel, like I worry about that. Like, are you playing? Are you acting? Are you? Because like Jared Leto's a piece of shit in real life, and he always plays the villain. So like, are you a good person if you're a good heel? Like, I don't know. Like Ric Flair, like that dude, sexually asked women. He cheated on everyone. He's not a good dude. Like Ric Flair's not a good dude. Take off the wrestling mantra and like legacy glasses. Ric Flair's a bad person.
Yeah, and it's weird too. But I mean, I'm glad we've gotten to see so many eras of wrestling where we have seen people who are just natural faces and natural heels, and people who can do both.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would be weird now trying to see Cena be a bad guy.
Yeah,
I don't think
Sting, Ricky Steamboat, like these are like the nicest dudes in the world. Them playing bad dudes, not possible.
Mysterio, guys like that. But I feel like never make Charlotte the face, never make Orton face. Like Brock isn't really so much a face as so much he is just a smiling like demon at this point.
Brock, here's why Brock Lesnar is so popular. I think you'll agree with me. We both grew up listening to like American Tall Tales.
Yeah.
You know, Paul Bunyan, John Henry, my favorite. I feel like Brock Lesnar's a modern day Tall Tale. Like if you told me Brock Lesnar went out hunting in the mountains of Canada and punched out a moose, I'd believe it.
It's funny. It's got a notable rap lyric where it was like, if you, I forgot who said it, but he was like, if you see me in the forest fighting a bear, help the bear. Like that's Brock Lesnar.
Yes. Yeah, five to shark people. Like, let's be honest here. So let's move on because I do want to talk about some good stuff.
Yes.
From SummerSlam. One of the things I did like was the return of Edge. I haven't been liking Edge's returns, and I didn't really like all of Edge's return because like they brought out a step stool, a step ladder, just so Edge can have his fucking ascending reveal. That was dumb. Marcus, so dumb. Oh, geez, I wonder who's in the staircase that they just wheeled out.
I'm glad you bring that up because I would imagine it's always for us because they can play the camera tricks on the people watching. But when you're there, it's like at SummerSlam when Lashley, because they had that long walkway, you've seen it.
Yeah.
Where they had to walk and then go to the side, and that's the whole thing. Like they had to put Lashley's thing that he stands on now halfway down there. So I'm like, obviously we never see it, but I'm pretty sure the crowd sees this big hulking black guy walking out and getting on the stepping thing and just standing there for some umpteen minutes waiting. And then, like you said, they see the thing wheeling out for Ed. Like, oh my God, I wonder who's in there. Like, remember Sin Cara when he used to jump on that trampoline? And I used to like, no, he's just airborne like that. Like, no, he's clearly jumping on something.
And they tried to make it look like he was just doing it, and then like one week they accidentally showed the trampolines. Like, spaghetti.
That's why I so miss the classic TNA tunnel.
Yes.
Or like Kurt Angle's old inches when he used to have a flag around him. Like,
brilliant. So Edge came out looking like he was the new lead singer of Alter Bridge. Or Shinedown. I love Shinedown. So no disrespect there. But one, I love the jacket. That was dope.
Yeah.
The haircut was great because old man long hair is weird, especially if you're not going to dye it and take care of it, because then it just like it looks persistently and consistently grimy. And that's weird. I don't know what this theme song he came out to was because I couldn't hear anything. Because like this is the issue with open aired stadiums, no one can fucking hear shit.
Yeah.
So that pissed me off. But like the overall look was great. But here's the thing that really kind of just stuck in my craw. 20 years ago, in 3 months, or 2 months, 2 months. 20 years ago, 2 months from now, Ray and Edge won the tag titles on SmackDown. You would think that being part of the infamous SmackDown 6 and being as huge as they were and are, and having this interaction, you would have gotten some type of reference to their shared lineage. Nothing. Because that could have been such a huge addition to this angle. Edge isn't just coming out for revenge. He's picking now to come back because it's Ray. Then this is what I mean. Like, don't expect this fucking storyline bullshit to get better. Because, like, that right there adds nuance, depth, and layers to a story that, frankly, needs as much as it can get. And they completely just dropped the ball. You know what I would have done? Honestly, you know what I would have done? I would have had Dominic turn heel to start the match, like before the match even starts. Have him join up and then bring Edge out to tag with Ray as part of the 20-year anniversary. I think that's what they should have done, but I can write storylines and they can't, apparently. So, yeah, what are you going to do? Marcus, any thoughts before we move on to Ric Flair's last match?
Still there?
Yeah. I guess I lost you for a second. Any thoughts on Edge's return or anything else from SummerSlam before we move on to Ric Flair's last match?
No, you're absolutely right. That was the logical way to go. In fact, when this was potentially getting intertwined because they started beating up the Mysterios every odd chance they got, people was calling for that because him and Ed, that's SmackDown 6. Like, if you don't know, get acquainted. Just go look it up on YouTube and just thank us later. Those tag matches was like just instant classics. But like you're right, like it would have been better motivated. You know what I think happened? I don't know what happened with like somebody wanted to pull the trigger and like, oh, you know what would be a good flip if we have him jump Edge and then make Finn the leader, and then that didn't really work out. So it's like, okay, we thought this was gonna go better than it did, so now we need you to kill it because we can't like write it out logically because it makes no sense because it really was random as hell when we threw it together. Not with you, like when we just implanted Finn in there because we really wasn't doing nothing with him. So now we need a narrative for you to be killing all of the Rey Mysterios and just be there because, you know, we kind of need to even out the numbers. Instead of, like you said, it makes logical sense to have a team. Of course, the last time Edge came back to try to reunite a team, he got RKO'd to hell. So, you know, and there's that. We might have some trust issues.
Well, he can talk to Sting about trust issues.
Hilarious.
Because all that man ever did was trust the wrong guy. For 10 years, it was persistent and consistent wrong guy trusting.
Oh, but when he stopped trusting people, we got some of the best Sting character work. Yes, we will always reference Joker Sting whenever we get the chance.
Ta-ta for now. Speaking of ta-ta for now, Ric Flair retired, allegedly. 27-minute match. I feel like it was longer than that, but that's what it says on Wikipedia. The match at least went, with all the pomp and circumstance, with the in-ring entrance and everything, it went at least, because, like, here's the thing. I think it went at least 8 minutes for all the intros and whatnot. And then the match was 27 minutes, and then there was a good 10-minute cooldown with a speech and whatnot, because it went about, like, that whole segment went about an hour. It started at about 9:05, I think is when all the entrances started, and it went off the air around 9:50 or 9:55. So like it was about a full hour of Flairness. And we're going to talk about the match first, and then we'll talk about the rest of the card, because the match was bad. The match was horrifically bad. I think you could have gotten a good 12-minute match out of Flair, but they really tried to stretch this. And they didn't need to, because they had the Briscoes versus the Von Erichs. They had Jacob Fatu versus Alexander. They had Rey Fenix, Bandito, Laredo Kid, and Black Taurus. John Gresham, Alan Angels, Kinsuke Takeshita, I think I said that right, and Nick Wayne went 5 minutes. Killer Cross and Davey Boy Smith went 5 minutes. Those two matches alone could have gone 15 minutes on their own. So like there was no reason to make the main event go 27 minutes. You couldn't convince me to go 15 minutes with these four dudes, let alone 12. I'm saying go 7 hard minutes in a tag match with Ric Flair. That's all he's capable of doing, and he proved that. I was horrified. Like I told you off the air, like Ric Flair faked a heart attack at one point, but it was kind of underplayed, so people may not have noticed. But there was a point when he was clutching the left side of his chest, and then he poked, I think it was Jeff Jarrett in the eye. And I'm just like, this is terrible. And by the end of the match, Marcus, Ric Flair legitimately could not move to do anything because he was so gassed. So like when he put on the figure 4, like he just laid there. He didn't do anything because he couldn't. And then it took him literally a good 4 minutes to stand up afterwards.
He used his finish as a rest spot. I love it.
No, he used the finish as a rest spot.
Because that's the thing, you know, they do it all the time with the figure 4 where what it do is because you try to, like, I can just kind of lean back and then the ref will start counting because your shoulder's down.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, no, it don't matter here. We're going to let him catch his win.
Ric Flair was so gassed because technically the match should have ended with a double countout or a double pinfall because they were both had their shoulders on the mat. But Ric Flair couldn't sit up because of how gassed he was. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to belittle the dude. He's 73. I get it. But also, if you're 73 and you can't go 27 minutes, then you either don't go at all or you don't go 27 minutes. So I feel like any excuses you can come up with are just excuses. This match should have been 10 minutes at best. Ric Flair should have spent all of 2 minutes in the ring and he should have closed it out. The need for him to do this huge epic kind of affair ruined it. And as Brian Alvarez, so eloquently said on Twitter, he was shitting himself the entire time because of how afraid he was. And at the end of the match, Marcus, I swear to God, I thought Ric Flair died. When he couldn't get up at the end of the match, I thought he legitimately died. This was a disturbing, kind of sad, almost unwatchable match that should never be repeated again. And I cannot wait for his return against Hulk Hogan in the Ric Flair sequel.
I was looking forward to maybe potentially watching some highlights on the tube, but I don't want to see that. Because that photo I sent you last week with him just tying up his laces, he looked gassed. Yeah. Like he got jumped, and then somebody told him, okay, let's get a video of you, a picture of you tying. Like, I get it, and he's addicted to the pop of it all and the pomp and circumstance that comes with being Ric Flair, but you're a 70-some, almost 80-some-year-old man with a pacemaker. Just hang it up, man. Just go somewhere and just enjoy that you've been alive this long. It's not worth it. And the fact that there's something kind of tasteless about the heart attack spot.
Yeah. Very tasteless. Because
you legitimately almost died. And like I said, the sting in that spot is like having people legitimately don't know. But because it's such a legitimate thing, you have to put people in on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or else everybody's going to rush the ring like, oh, shit. Like, it's obviously not in WWE because, not until a couple weeks ago because we all know the narrative, the show must go on even if people die in the middle of the ring. But yeah, it's just, and the fact that it was Brian Alvarez who was like shitting himself the whole time, and then you legitimately think he died at the end of the match tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah, so it's not worth your time.
Like that's Like one day we're gonna do a show where we do the ranking of the saddest things we've seen in wrestling, like the Jeff Hardy thing with Sting, obviously the Scott Hall thing.
Yeah, with the discus punch and he's too stoned to move.
Yeah,
See,
the
like here,
Scott Hall.
when it comes to this match specifically, Marks, I feel like if you had kept Flair's involvement to about 3 to 4 minutes, it would have been fine. Because to start the match, he hit the ropes pretty well. He was throwing some solid chops. The problem is that was 23 minutes prior to what we got. Because when Flair came in to do the final run, he was throwing all the weight he could behind his chops, and they were legitimately missing people. Because he was so gassed, he couldn't actually make contact. And then when he did, it was like, not the big, loud, thundering woos that we were so used to. But that was how it was at the end. At the start, there was some crispness to it. I'm not saying I'm not saying he still had it, because there was a crowd chant, man, where they started chanting, "You still got it." They are all damnable liars. They lied.
Let's just go call that commoner courtesy. Gonna name it that. If I'm booking that, I'm drawing that out to save him for the last few minutes as the hot tag.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just go the whole match, just milk it. Milk people. It's Ric Flair's last match, and he can't even get in his own damn match. It's a natural booking. You milk it, use him for the hot tag. That burst of the first however many minutes you say he actually looked credible, you save that for the end.
Not credible. He looked fine. At the end, I thought he was dead. So, like, understand that there's a big difference between he looked fine and I thought he died.
Okay, all right. Maybe he looked like All Might when he was half swollen and half decrepit fighting all for one.
No, All Might as a teacher looked more credible than Flair at the start of this match.
Jesus,
and All Might doesn't have a stomach. I don't know how he's not dead.
Marcus,
when he met Midoriya, he had groceries. Why? He doesn't have a stomach.
It's supposed to be all liquids, kid.
That's not how it works. The liquids still need to be digested in the stomach.
Oh my God, man.
That's the one thing that will always bother me about My Hero. He doesn't have a stomach. How is this a thing? But I digress. So yeah, Flair. Yeah, it was definitely an experience. I'll say that. He came out with his iconic white robe. I want to say like this was like a version, or maybe it was dead on one of the old Starrcade robes that he wore. I don't know, but it was definitely big and whatnot. And he had some purple. He was decked out in purple. He had a purple athletic shirt on. So like I wasn't surprised about that. And it did have some design patterns on the back, so like that was cool. But there should have been a little bit more because it kind of looked more like he wanted to go swimming but was embarrassed about his body, so he wore his shirt while he swam. And that's just always weird. But he also came out with the original big gold belt from the old Jim Crockett days with the little bend in the top of it. So I thought that was pretty dope. But everything about the show that was good had nothing to do with Flair or this match. Because even Jay Lethal looked rough. And Andrade, you could tell, was really working his ass off to save his father-in-law's life. It was an experience, man. I don't know if it was a good one.
We'll be eternally sleeping on the couch if this goes wrong.
Right?
But yeah, I mean, I have no doubt that it's not the pomp and circumstance he got a problem with. He the king of that.
Yeah.
That's Flair. But getting in there, like I said, I would have milked it. Just to sell the narrative, it's his last match and he can't even get the tag to get in there. And that's how you pump the crowd up. You build it. You have him do the Ric Flair wooing and going back and forth on the ropes. And then he finally get the tag. Then you do that last old man burst where he looks good. The chops look crisp. He's selling. He's throwing chops like the Bucks throw super kicks. And then you have him do the little, all the stuff with the figure four, and he don't look like he, locked in the figure four and then croaked.
And that was the thing that like really kind of perplexed me about this whole thing. Like, say what you will about Tony Khan as a producer and as a booker, he knows how to use Sting. Sting's what, 63?
Absolutely, he's the best booked legend in the business right now.
He is. because they keep him confined to moments that he can still do.
Yep.
I know I fanboy hard and going, yeah, just put the belt on him. Put all the belts on him. But there's a part of me that would really have a hard time wondering what would Sting look like in a singles match. I don't know, and I'm not sure I want to know. But with Flair, they should have kind of called up Tony and been like, Tony, let's talk about how we should do this, because we have some reservations here, because he's 73 and he's drinking every night heading into the match. Because yes, Ric Flair is still drinking copious amounts of alcohol, despite the fact that alcohol nearly killed him. Because Ric Flair is as dumb as he's ever been. I digress. Your idea of saving him till the end is literally what they should have done. Had Andrade get his ass beat for 10 minutes, Jay and Jeff just beating the shit out of them. Then you have, maybe the Conrad, because they did something with Conrad, and they did something with his daughter. Maybe they get involved somehow if you really want to bring them into the fray, although you don't really need them. And then you have Rick do the hot tag, in the last 2 minutes of the match, and he throws all the chops and gets the figure four on, and he's wooing, and he's doing his thing. And it doesn't turn out so bad. There was an old show, I think it was like All Wrestling Entertainment or Absolute Wrestling Entertainment or something like that. And the main event was like Kevin Nash versus Ricky Morton. Do you remember the show? It's from 2011.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I would rather watch that match, and that match went like 6 minutes, than watch another second of this Ric Flair match, because it was bad. But Mick Foley was there, which I thought was hilarious, because Mick Foley and Flair always had issues.
Yeah, sitting next to the dead man.
Sitting next to Undertaker, and Bret Hart was there.
That was another cool. Anytime you see Bret, it's cool, because Bret is like
super ornery.
Super honorary. He's really my older spirit animal.
So you're an old white Canadian dude?
It's like I like my family, but I don't want to be bothered.
I guess that tracks, because I'm a little blue alien dude. So yeah, all right.
You the little blue alien dude in the face of the thing in Men in Black that was coughing when they opened that. Yeah, man. It's just such an easy sell. You literally have Flair going against one of his best impersonators ever, NJ Lee. He could have just been pretending to be the younger version of you, and I'm beating up your beating up your brother, son-in-law. Then Jared doing a little thing where he goes from side to side. They could have mocked him to dear God. And all of a sudden, Andrade can take the beating for however many umpteen minutes, 23 of the 30 minutes. And then you finally get the hot tag. The crowd goes wild. Flair gets his 5 minutes of Flairness without having to send his pacemaker in the overdrive and have people worried. But that's not what they did. That's why I think that ego played too much into it. You overextended yourself.
You did. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was all ego, not Ethan Page.
Yeah, because thank God. Because you needed to have a spotlight, and you really you didn't have the in the tank to do that. But it's in the books now. Hopefully, it's the last chapter of the book. But again, this is wrestling, and this is Ric Flair, so don't hold your breath.
So I still stand by that Sting Hogan 2011 at Bound for Glory should have not only was a good match, but should have main event of the show. But everyone always talks about the Sting Flair match beforehand not being that good. To put it in proper context, this match was so bad. Sting Flair from 2011 looked like Shawn Michaels Undertaker 2. Granted, I'm not a fan of that match, but I know that's the match that everyone cites as being so good. So I feel like that's a reference that people will understand. But yeah, this was an abomination, which is unfortunate because the card was super good. Oh. So we start with the Motor City Machine Guns and the Wolves starting off the show properly. The Bunkhouse Battle Royal happened on the pre-show, and Ren Narita and Yuya Uemura, I think I said that right, were the two dark matches. But the Wolves and Machine Guns were amazing. I'm not going to spoil that one because I want everyone to watch it because that was masterclass tag team wrestling. Killer Kross and Davey Boy Smith told a really good story in just 5 minutes. That one should have gotten at least another 5 minutes because that match, 10 minutes at least, would have been great. The four-way corner match for the number one contendership of the Progress World title was only 5 minutes, but they put a lot into it. But I don't think they needed to because I think Alan Angels and John Gresham would have been fine on their own. Nick Wayne is 17 years old and didn't need to be on this match in this match. And then you had Kenosuke Takeshita, and I don't even know who he is, but I know he's probably a young lion in the New Japan dojo. But like you didn't need those two dudes. You could have just done Allen and Grisham, and it would have been just as fine. Brian Pillman Jr. and Brock Anderson with Arn Anderson formed the Four Horsemen with Four Horsemen gear. And they defeated the Rock and Roll Express of Ricky Morton and Kerry Morton. Kerry Morton is the son of Ricky Morton, who was seconded by Robert Gibson, Ricky Morton's former tag team partner, or current tag team partner, I guess. This was the most, I don't want to say nostalgic, but like this was the most optimistic part of the show for me, because I'm sitting here going, wait, you got Brock Anderson, the son of Arn Anderson. You got Brian Pillman Jr., the son of Brian Pillman. You couldn't have gotten Bo Dallas, the son of Barry Windham, have them team with Ric Flair as the new Four Horsemen in the main event? What are we doing, folks? What are we doing? Maybe you throw in Andrade as the fifth, or maybe you just have Andrade, because technically Andrade is the son of Ric Flair now. So you have Andrade, Pillman, and Brock is your foursome against Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Ricky Morton and Kerry Morton. Why was that not the main event? I digress. It was a good match, though. I liked it. Ricky Morton's almost as old as Flair. How old is Ricky Morton? 68?
Doing Canadian destroyers.
Well, see, and here's the thing. Ricky Morton knows what he is. Ricky Morton's 65. He knows what he is. He knows what he can still do. And he doesn't go beyond that. He's very much kind of what Sting, not Sting, he kind of was what Flair was in 05. Like, he knows he has to bump on the side of his hip. He can't take any back drops really with any significance. And he's not that athletic, but he can throw something once a match. And he only does it in big matches. And he's still relatively active, so like you're not worried about him. Like Ric Flair, for the most part, has been hugely inactive for 16 years, 15 years. He's got a pacemaker, he's got a bad hip, he's got a bad liver, bad kidney, bad everything. We don't have those issues with Ricky Morton that we're aware of. Ricky Morton has been doing this consistently for 40, 50 years. So he knows what he's about, and he can still do it to a degree. So there's a difference between the two. And I need that to be abundantly clear, because just because they're close to being the same age doesn't mean they're close to being in the same shape. Ricky Morton is in far much better shape than Flair, and he knows his limitations far better than Flair ever did. So that's why this match was good, and the main event sucked. We had a Four Corners match with Rey Fenix, Bandito, Laredo Kid, and Black Taurus. And what really pissed me off about this match is the commentators didn't know how to pronounce the goddamn names. We had Fenix, and we had Taurus. I feel like I was watching a goddamn car commercial. The new 2022 Taurus.
It's funny because that takes us back to the days when Lucha House Party was a thing, and then Chad was like Melik,
Grand Melik.
But they not joking. They can legitimately call him fucking Metallic. It's like, what is he? Like a new Pokemon? Fucking Metallic.
It's the fucking song from Edge. Metalingus.
Metallic. It's hardcore cunnilingus.
I don't want to do hardcore cunnilingus. I don't know what that would be, but I don't want any part of that.
Taurus and Phoenix.
Phoenix. So like that was funny to me. Like, I was like, all right, these guys don't know what they're doing. Yeah, this was a really good match, and it only got 11 minutes. Technically 12. It went 11:50, but still. The real main event, Josh Alexander and Jacob Fatu went to a no contest, and I didn't like that. I was very mad about this. But I think the thing that I was fine with was, one, it showed Josh Alexander is that guy. He's the king of the North, and I love that. But what really made me happy is so many people on Twitter were talking about Jacob Fatu for the first time. And I love Jacob Fatu. He's more athletic because he's a Fatu, so he's related to Rikishi and all them. But he's more athletic than all of them combined. I think he's like a distant cousin of Roman Reigns. I don't think he's like an immediate cousin like the Usos. Let me see. Let's check out the Anawahi family tree, because this is going to be fun.
Weird talking about that that cousin lineage because they all look like each other.
Yup.
And so, uh,
Okay, so technically, where's Roman? Roman Samu.
you like freaking Jacob Fatu look like Umaga.
Okay, so he technically Jacob Fatu is fourth generation, but Roman Reigns is third generation because Roman and Rosie are the sons of Lisa Anoa'i and Liadi Anoa'i. But Jacob Fatu is the son of the Tama Kid, who is the son of fucking hell. Iolahu Falahu Solofahu Fatu Sr. Did I get that right? And Elevara Anoa'i. So he's fourth generation while Roman Reigns are third generation. So technically that would make Roman his uncle once removed. I think I did that right. But they're family.
You just did blood math. I love it.
There's actually a fifth generation in Lance Anoa'i who is the son of Samu, who is the brother of Afa, and they're the cousins of Roman. So no, not fifth generation. Lance Anoa'i and Jacob Fatu are both fourth generation. Okay, this makes sense. It's just all kind of slammed together. There should be it's not a very wide screen. I mean, it is, but it's not wide enough. Because there's some lineage here, folks. There's some lineage.
It's weird because he looks like the spitting image of Umaga.
Yeah, he does.
But if you line stuff up, like, because Umaga is the uncle of the Usos.
Well, actually, yes and no. Jacob Fatu is actually more related technically to Umaga because that is his uncle. Because, like, you have to remember, like, your father and his brother, you know, that's your father and your uncle, and they have a grandfather. But you have to realize that if the grandfather has a brother and he has his own sets of kids, while yes, family, they're not technically cousins. So Fatu isn't technically the cousin of Roman Reigns. He's the first cousin once removed, I think. While Jacob Fatu is the legitimate nephew of Umaga. That's why the physical similarities are so much more prevalent between Jacob Fatu and Umaga. Because Umaga is the brother of Rikishi. So the Usos look more like Jacob Fatu than Roman would, because Roman's the son. Goddamn, this is complicated, folks.
Is the descendant of the Wild Samoans.
Yes. Jacob Fatu is the direct cousin of both Usos. He's the direct cousin because his father is the brother of their father. But Roman is the cousin to their father. So, like, this is closer to Eddie and Chavo than anything else. Because Eddie was Chavo's uncle, technically, even though they're the same age. But these are second cousins, or once removed.
They literally could do a spin-off of House of Dragon called a House of Oos. with this bloodline, and it's mad. It was like he's closer related to. He looks just like such and such, but Nia Jax is more related to. Like, what, Nia Jax? Like, what?
All right, let's see where Nia Jax works into this. I'm gonna guess not.
She just hangs out with The Rock's mom a lot. She's not kin.
Well, like, I don't see her listed. I see Trinity.
Yeah, and I know Tamina's. Well, we know where Tamina is.
Tamina's not part of the family. Snookers are not part of the family. So other members, Hollywood stuntman Tanawahi Reed, who is Towel and is The Rock's stunt double on his movies, is the great nephew of wrestling promoter Leah Maivia, which is Peter Maivia's wife. Who the fuck is Peter Maivia? Peter Maivia is the grandfather to The Rock. This is fucking confusing. While professional wrestler Lena Fanini is Dwayne Johnson's second cousin once removed. That helps. And Sean Maluda is the nephew of Afa Anawaihi, who was also a participant in the Cruiserweight Classic. So which one is Afa?
Like, meanwhile, the dude in NXT is just the Usos, brother. Let's keep it simple.
Right.
To make everybody stop hurting. He's not a descendant. He's their brother.
And what's his name? Joseph?
See.
Yeah. Okay. So technically there's 5 siblings. There's the Fatus. There's I think a woman. I don't know what I'm not very familiar with names in the Samoan Polynesian culture, so please don't take this insult as an insult. I just don't know. Ivana Mona Lisa, and then you have Jeremiah Pinita, and then you have Joseph Sifa Fatu, aka Solo Sikoa, and they're all children of Rikishi, but I think they're all children of Rikishi through different mothers, because they're all tied to Rikishi's block, but not to Lelusha Fuafi. Maybe that's a sister. I think that's a wife.
Jesus, I know when the kids in the family go to school and got to do the family tree project, everybody be like, "Oh, it's they."
I'm sure every teacher who's ever had an Anawai just goes, "Listen, guys, just tell me who your dads are. Tell me who your moms are. Don't do anyone else. We're trying to conserve trees."
You're what's killing you. These projects with y'all are killing their environment. We're running out of paper for this.
That's why they're tearing down the rainforest. They have to get paper for the Anawais to do their goddamn family trees every generation.
They're like, now here comes like the random white guy a-hole in the because one of the kids did the whole thing, and it looks like instead of a collage, it's a tapestry. and then it's time for the freaking Anawai to sit down, and this asshole goes, "Wait a minute, I think you left out Troy Polamalu." Like, what?
Oh, God, I would laugh my ass off if I found out that Palomalu is a second distant relative to like one of the older Anawais. Like his great grandfather was married to like one of the goddamn Maiavias like some 200 years ago. Like I would laugh so hard. You know what would be even funnier? Just it would take the goddamn cake if somehow the Von Erichs were a part of this lineage as well. Like 300 years back, a Fatu and a Von Erich hooked up. I think that'd be hilarious.
Hold on. Who was that?
What's that?
Who was the guy that looked Samoan but really wasn't? Let's see.
Who did he wrestle for?
Oh, he was in WWE. He was because he looked Samoan, but I don't think he was. Gonna get the name. Put it up. Name is Richard Young. He was Ricky Ortiz.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember Ricky Ortiz. He was Vicky Guerrero's boyfriend for a hot minute.
Oh, wow, because he married Layla.
Really?
Yeah.
Layla L?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my respect for her just went out the window. That dude looked like a goober. She could have done better. I'm not saying me, but I'm saying me.
I'm about to say you're not saying.
All right, so Fatu is great. The Briscoes and the Von Erichs did their thing. It was fine. They only got 7 minutes and 45 seconds. The Triple Threat Women's match was pretty good for only being slightly over 9 minutes. Definitely worth checking out. Overall, the card was great. Just the main event was hard to watch.
Yeah.
So, let's move on. Oh, I forgot to mention during the Alexander Fatu match, when Zack Ryder and Matt Cardona and I forget who the other dude was that rocks with them, they came down, beat up Fatu, beat up Alexander, and then DDP jumps into the front row, hops over the barricade, and hits a picture perfect diamond cutter on Zack Ryder, and it was just très magnifique. I loved it. It was fucking fantastic.
I love how even
he's 65 and he still hits the best diamond cutter.
I love still how even in the era of the out of nowhere RKO, he still makes that diamond cutter the OG. Bang!
Because like Randy jumps and it looks so dumb, but DDP like whenever he grabbed the dude, he would always grab him in a nice kind of a collar lock, if you will. Like he really got that chokehold with his hands going, but then he would yank his shoulder out, pull the head down into the arm, like into the crevice of the arm, lift his leg, and then drop himself, pulling the guy down with him. And it always looked so fluid and so much more impactful than just, I'm leaping and grabbing your neck with one hand. Wow. It looked dumb. Like, the RKO sucks. Like, here, keep this in mind. This is what Randy Orton did. Evan Bourne did the moonsault, right? Or did the shooting star press. And all Randy Orton did was land underneath him. And that was the RKO. Like, Evan Bourne literally just fell on his face. And Randy Orton put his arm underneath him as, like, you know, like that fake finish, like, or that fake fall pin where, like, you get knocked down, you just happen to land on the guy and you get the win. Like, that was basically what Randy Orton did with Matt Sydal. So, like, come on. The RKO sucks. Let's be realistic here, folks. It's the diamond cutter and nothing else. Speaking of which, though, Mark, Stardom. They're owned by the same company as New Japan these days. And it was announced that a partnership between the two will see them create the first ever IWGP Women's Championship. So that's a thing now. I see, I'm of the mindset that I don't necessarily need integrated gender divisions in companies. Like, I'm cool with the company being all dudes or all chicks. Like, I'll watch both. So I'm not over the moon about this decision because, like, I watch Stardom and I also watch New Japan. I'm going to watch Women's Wrestling. Yeah, that's right, Women's Wrestling. I always get that confused with Glow. But I'm going to watch Women's Wrestling. I don't necessarily need, you know, gendered rosters. Like, I'm good. But, you know, we're getting it, so it's happening. Whatever. They announced that they're going to be doing the IWGP Women's Championship, and Stardom was the one who tweeted it out, and WrestleZone compiled the tweets, and I guess either they were in English or they translated them. So I'm going to read what WrestleZone wrote, or copied, I guess. Quote, just announced in today's Stardom 2022 strategy meeting, the IWGP Women's Championship. New Japan and Stardom are creating this title for defenses not only in Japan, but also in the U.S. on New Japan wrestling events, appealing to the world with the rich IWGP history. Excuse me, I have hiccups right now. With the rich IWGP history. The IWGP Women's Championship is for New Japan events. It's possible that it could be defended on big Stardom events. However, Stardom's main title remains the World Stardom title, the red belt, along with the Wonder of Stardom title, the white belt. The inaugural IWGP Women's Champion will be crowned at the New Japan Cross Stardom event, a joint show is what they say, on November 20th at the RK Arena. Please note, this belt does not usurp the red and white belts in any way. They are the main titles for Stardom events. They are really trying to hit home with, hey. This belt don't fuck with us. So I wonder how cantankerous the relationship is between the two brands. Because like that's like listen, we're gonna let them use our talent. But this belt don't mean shit to us. Like that's how that reads to me.
I don't. It seems like a unnecessary luxury.
Mm-hmm.
Like Stardom doing their own thing. It's like if it ain't broke type of deal. And I know you like the addition just to kind of sidestep a little bit. The AEW, like I'm kind of getting leery. They need to get the whole concept of a subsidiary and ROH situated before I think they expand with those titles, but they doing it. So this is cool, but like you said, if they go constantly make it a sticking point and be like, it's a thing, but it's not really anything, because obviously, you know, we got our titles hold more weight. So I don't know, maybe that's just the strength of relationship between the two. But like you said, I mean, how much, not necessarily a necessity because they're owned by the same company. So
I
we'll see
think
how it works out.
I think what this is mainly going to be is something for them to use in America, because in Japan there's not a lot of call, at least that I've seen, for integrated rosters.
Yeah.
But I know there is in the States. Like in Japan, the idea of gender is so much more defined, so much more expected. So I think this is New Japan and Stardom's way of appealing to a broader audience in the States, and I think you'll end up seeing this belt defended more on New Japan Strong shows than anything. And considering how kind of lackluster the Strong shows are in terms of personalities, I don't think that's a bad idea. But the work rate for the brand is really New Japan Strong is the new Ring of Honor. Like it's a lot of the better worker guys that don't have big personalities. And I feel like there could be something there with the women, but we'll see. Time will tell. I'm not against the idea. I think it's interesting. Maybe not in the best way, but it could be real good. Could be real bad. Don't know. Speaking of women that I'm excited about, Killer Kelly is finally with Impact. She popped up in November or like October of 2020. She did I think she did like a tournament or something. I forget what she did. But she only had like a few matches and then she was gone. Apparently she had to deal with some mental health issues and some physical injuries. But now she's back. And not only is she back, but she has a brand new contract. And I think that's kind of interesting because Killer Kelly is one of those names that has been floating around for a while as a big name. Not a big name. She has a lot of credibility to her name, but she's not a draw yet. But she's one of those talents that people were raving about before she left. Now, Killer Kelly is going to be someone that I think fans can really get behind. Marcus, Killer Kelly, we haven't seen a lot of her, but now we're going to see as much as we can stomach. Are we over the moon about this? Is this one of those things that we're excited about?
Look, I'm always happy when the knockouts bolster their roster. She's young. She looks mean. It's like she could go. I love to see her running the slammer bitch.
Yeah. With
Like,
that
that'll
hair.
be good. Yeah, man. That'll be some good stuff. But yeah, that's just another great name added to the roster. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't think because I think obviously Gail Kim dictates a lot of that pace now. That she would bring in an element that would muddy the waters of what they already got there, because that's a tight knit group.
Mm-hmm.
So if she's been added, it's because she can add things to it. So we'll see. Obviously, Jordan's the at the top of the mountain now, so she's gonna provide the stage for a lot of great matches. So I'm happy they got, like I said, I've been with all these names floating out there. We've been looking for some additions to